All right, I got a question. I might not look like it, but I am the U.S. brand manager for Lexus. I made that career change on Tuesday last week. So I gave Oracle 2 weeks notice, and I got 1 week to go here, and then I'm off to Lexus. They promised to give me an LFA to drive to and from work. Anyway, so the first thing I want to do, okay, the Olympics just ended, and America did very well, the United States did very well in the Olympics, and I want to get everyone driving LFAs. I think it's going to be a very popular car, or some kind of Lexus. It doesn't have to be the LFA. It could be, but I'd like everyone to drive a Lexus. I want people to get excited about my brand. I want to have a big name athlete promote the Lexus. The question is who? Who is the right person to promote the Lexus brand? And now that just after the Olympics have ended. And the way what we're going to do is we're going to kind of try to figure that out using crowdsourcing the information, using the huge amount of data. We picked Twitter. And we really built this application. It's and actually a lot of surprising information came out of it. So what we did is over about a 10-day period, we pulled, right after the Olympics, we pulled almost 5 billion tweets from what's called the Twitter fire hose. The Twitter fire hose is a set of APIs whereby you can access the the stream of tweets from Twitter. So we use the Firehose APIs, we access Twitter, and we loaded all of those tweets, 5 billion of them, into an Oracle database. Now to really analyze the tweets, we're going to have to use a combination of technology, not only the Oracle database for analyzing some of the structured data information, but also Endeca for analyzing the unstructured information. And we're going to have to do it simultaneously. It's not good enough to do just structured or just unstructured. We're going to have to do both, as it turns out, to answer this question. It sounds like it's a very simple question, very complicated data processing to get the underlying answer. And we're not going to do it using batch technology. We're going to do it all in real time. It's a lot of data. And it's actually worse than I said. Because a tweet, it's not just 140 characters. There's a lot of structured information in tweet. There are geotags. We know where the person was, if geo's enabled, where the person was when they sent this tweet. We know what time they sent the tweet. We know what kind of device they used when they sent the tweet. We have a lot of information beyond just the 140 characters. We know how many followers this person has. We have a lot of information. So that 5 billion tweets blows up to a much bigger data set than 5 billion tweets. We end up with over 25 billion relationships, a lot. 100 million authors, a lot of mentions. Again, a lot of people who are mentioned, a lot of products that are mentioned in the body, that 140 character body of the tweets. Obviously, there's hashtags and a bunch of other information. Anyway, we have this enormous database, starting with the tweets, then that thing explodes and gets much bigger. Well, big data meet big iron. So we have the ideal set. You can applaud if you want to, you don't have to. Big data meet big iron. We have the ideal set of tools to do real-time data processing, real-time analysis of big data. We have, actually these two machines are now yesterday's news. We've announced the successors to these machines. But we did this right after the Olympics, and before the X3 was available. So this is the X2-8 and the Ellison X2-4. Interconnected with InfiniBand. Again, we have all of the Oracle BI Foundation running, tuned for in-memory data processing, running in Exalytics. We have the Oracle database. version 11.2 running in the Exadata database machine. Again, interconnected by the world's fastest network. Okay, so let me go. I'm going to have to move over here. Oh, this is going to be interesting. Can we switch to the computer, please? Okay, so it's very interesting. These are the, you can see up here, we've got the 5 billion tweets, and that exploded into a large, this is a dashboard. This is an Oracle Business Intelligence dashboard. Being produced by Exalytics in real time. And you can see it's a pretty large data set. It's big data, 5 billion tweets, over 27 billion relationships, almost a billion hashtags, and so on. Here's the first kind of interesting piece of data that surprised me. It didn't surprise me that Apple was the most popular mobile device, or that Android was number 2. It did really surprise me that BlackBerry was almost as big as Android, and not that much smaller than Apple. I was really, everyone talking about the end of BlackBerry, but look at this, real data. Real data, and as a mobile device, not that far behind. Go figure. Be interesting. If I was an investor, I might buy a little bit of that, that brimstone. I'm not making any recommendations, by the way. Let me just do a little legal disclaimer here. I do not own, never have owned any rim stock, and I may or may not be Larry Ellison. This is and please ignore everything I said. I think that was kind of in the previous thing we did. I think it's called Safe Harbor Statement. Okay. All right, so, kind of interesting. Not really the question I was trying to answer, but kind of an interesting piece of data. So right now, we're doing a tweet analysis, and we're looking at the data by source. And I'm going to click on this, and I'm going to change it to topic. And so this is what the tweets are about. The most popular topic was society, by a long shot. Second is leisure. I happen to love leisure myself. And the third is the Olympics. And you can see the huge spike of activity in this date range around the Olympics. So really, the Twitterverse got very, very active during the Olympics. So let's look at basically the top people, I guess the word celebrity is what we use, the top celebrities who are Olympic athletes. And this is an interesting measure, because the first measure, we're going to rank all of the Olympic athletes. Again, we want to hire one of these guys or gals to promote Lexus. We want to rank all of the Olympic athletes by followers. And you can see LeBron James is by far the biggest, has lots of followers, and Serena Williams, Carmelo Anthony, and so on. And it's kind of interesting, but followers is not the right metric for us. Just because they have a lot of followers doesn't mean they're the right, obviously, LeBron James plays in the NBA every year and has accumulated these followers over a long period of time. Again, from the point of view of the Olympics, he may, it may be somewhat different. He has the most followers. So we invented another idea called reach, looking at just the Olympic range, that 14-day period for the Olympics. And reach is, during that 14-day period, that followers covers their entire lifetime on Twitter. Reach is the number of tweets, retweets, and mentions during the Olympic Games. A very different kind of measure. Now again, mentions mean we have to do textual analysis, analyze the unstructured data, find how often LeBron is mentioned or whoever is mentioned during that 10-day period, and how many people retweeted his tweets and so on. Again, during that 10-day period. And let's do that analysis. First it's by followers. Now let's change this to this reach value I just described. LeBron is still first, but notice that Serena drops from second down to eighth, and Ryan Lochte moves up to second, where Ryan Lochte didn't have close to as many followers. Ryan Lochte has moved from fairly low to fairly high. Looking at this new measure, which you would think that, I mean, obviously Ryan Lochte's, a lot of people never heard of him before this most recent Olympic Games. Most people never heard of him before the most recent Olympic Games. All right, so this is an analysis or a list of the celebrities or athletes by their Olympic reach, ranked by the Olympic tweets, retweets, and mentions. Now let's go over here to this tab and analyze the audience for these athletes. All right, notice we still have the same athletes over here on the left. LeBron James, Ryan Lochte, and so on. And interesting, here's a geographic distribution of those 5 billion or so tweets. Notice how many come from the UK, Scotland, the general area of the UK. This is very important. Let's say we're a t-shirt company and we want to sell Ryan Lochte 200-pound t-shirts. Picture of Ryan in his bathing suit you can wear. And we need to know, we want to do that promotion in London and let people know where we want to send that out to people who are near our store. And we probably want to qualify that they're fairly wealthy and not very smart if they spend 200 pounds for a Ryan Lochte t-shirt. And that's a separate query. That's a separate analysis of audience, who do the promotion to. But it is interesting, again, that we see that you would think the United States would have the most Twitter activity, but around the Olympic time and the Olympic tweets, no, is actually coming from the UK. Now, analyzing that's a geographic analysis, a geographic distribution of the audience. And obviously we got that where the tweet-to-tweet device was geo-enabled. You can enable and disable that. But also we're going to analyze the audience, looking at these guys have lots of interest beyond the Olympics. So the guys who follow these athletes have other interests. And remember, the thing we're interested in is cars. We're trying to find out the name of the person who will be the ideal spokesperson for Lexus. All right, so you see down here, you got music, food, so on, football, and finally we get to cars. So let's drill in on this and rank the celebrities this time by mentions about cars. So people who are interested in cars, just looking at let's just reduce the number of tweets to only take the tweets about cars and see how many of them, how they rank these celebrities. Or what the reach is for these celebrities. Okay, on cars, things change dramatically. All of a sudden, LeBron has dropped to 8th, and Michael Phelps has gone to number 1. And Gabby Douglas has shown up from nowhere. I mean, Gabby is as I'm sure you remember, was the Olympic gold medal winner in gymnastics for the all-around, and led our team to the Olympic gymnastics gold medal. And she was way down on the list until we focused on cars. This is an enormously complicated query where Exalytics had to send it back to Exadata to do multi-pass SQL to go ahead and do this analysis. And we had to use both the Oracle database and Deca to handle both structured and unstructured information. This is complicated stuff, all happening in real time. Most people, when they talk about processing big data, they think about doing it in batch. Really a big MapReduce batch program. In this case, we're using Big Iron, Exadata, Exalytics, in-memory technology, and Deca, the Oracle database, to process unstructured and structured data in memory in real time. Okay. We're getting very close. We have one last query. We want to do this by brand. Now it's not just going to be cars in general, but we're going to break it up by brand. And here's the reference analysis. Oops. How do I do that? Okay. All right. Here's the reference analysis. Now this is very interesting. Okay, so we got the answer to our question. The answer to our question is Gabby Douglas. I'm going to come back to Gabby with a second choice of Michael Phelps. You know, I would really, if I'm Toyota, well, before I make that comment, let me just go down and describe this screen. If we look at the different hashtag groups, different communities that are interested in Lexus, and we've done sentiment analysis on the tweets. That is, if people said, "I hate Lexus," or "My Lexus burst into flames," and they tweeted that, we consider that a red or negative tweet. I'm not sure, you know, or the insurance on my LFA costs more than my house. You know, that would be a negative tweet. So we've actually used our, you know, Endeca